How is everybody doing tonight? Nobody's watching yet. Good thing. We're just trying to fucking unsort our shit here. We're a bit behind the ball. I was on another pod today. Lots going on. Lots to talk about. I'll bring in the olive drab hooligans here in a second. Welcome to Fire for Effect Live, 2 March 2022. It's been a crazy week. There was a ton of topics we could have went through. Let's see who's in the chat group here. I'm going to try to get to everybody. There's the young ladies are all in the house. My 3 favorite fans. Yeah, busy day. People keep asking me all week, what am I going to talk about? What am I going to talk about? Well, obviously the crisis in the Ukraine is the fucking number one thing on the plate. That being said, news changes minute by minute. So I literally like grab what I want to get into. Fucking minutes before we go in and then go from there because it just changes that fast. For those of you that watched the DeanBlundell.com today, Dean Blundell show, we had a lot of discussions and I was on with them all week trying to walk them through my thoughts and my thoughts only opinion on what the fuck is going on over there and what it's going to look like. So we shall get into some of that information. Let's bring the boys in. Oh, fucking the Blue Rocketeer went to find another rocket, so I'll bring in my main man, Bryce Hooper, first.
How are you,
there
Chris?
he is, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Bryce Hooper and Mr. Morgan Warren. I'll turn my
There's
cap
that
off.
sexy sniper.
What's going on? I'll do the fucking brought to you by later because we got a lot of stuff to cover. So what's going on, boys?
See that the comments are just going ridiculous already.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of guys today on Dean's show that had like a million questions and it's hard to track it while you're engaged.
Yeah.
And I just kind of gave a shout out at the end where they were starting to, left wheel onto a different topic. I said, listen, jump on tonight. We'll try to answer as much shit as we can. So that's what we're going to do tonight. Have a beer. Everybody calm the fuck down.
Calming down as we speak, my friend.
We can all jump on Bonzi's show after. So I grabbed a few headlines. I'm not a big fan of putting shit on the screen. For those of you that are watching, we will do a little more Q&A tonight, not a full night, because I know there's a lot of questions out there regarding our thoughts and opinions on this or what's going on. We can't speak to what's actually happening because we're not getting real-time insums anymore. Insums are intelligence summaries. We don't get that. So I get the same news you get. I get it from CNN. I get it from BBC. I get it from Al Jazeera. I get it from CTV, much like the Blue Rocketeer, who, I could put my hand on my heart and tell you right now, Morgan sits right there all fucking day on that laptop and just Googles alternative news sources to find out what's going on in the world. So,
yeah. Well, we can no longer get Russian news.
No, you can't get
Like, it feels.
Yeah, it's actually pretty surprising.
We'll actually talk about that first. Good segue. I don't think that the social media outlets and the news blockages are that's a double-edged sword. So the minute you cut off that RT News or whatever it was called, means we can't see it either. It's the same as I said earlier today about social media. Well, we're going to block, Zuckerberg's going to block fucking Russia from using Facebook and Twitter's following suit or limit their ability and going, well, if you do that, you're not allowing everybody in Russia to actually see what's going on outside of state-fed media.
Absolutely.
It is anti-social media as I am, right? As anti-social media as I am, and I am, because I think it's fucking skewed and dangerous. It can be dangerous 2 different ways. So if you can utilize that to actually educate the Russian populace what the fuck is going on or the perspective of what's going on other than the one they're fed, could be a good thing. But either way, who am I? Just some guy.
Very true comment, though, Jennifer.
Yeah,
there's a lot of propaganda coming from both sides right now, and it's kind of hard to have any kind of actual view on anything right now. I tried to have a conversation with someone earlier in the day about the convoy in the world, thinking that they'd be on the same page as I would be, and they actually brought up the fact that there's another national convoy headed to Ottawa.
Well, we need that.
Because there's one
That's
in-
more distraction, right? You
Listen,
wonder what we're being distracted from at this point.
convoys are the way to go these days.
Although, like, in I guess that person's defense, like, think about it, like, before the Russians invaded Ukraine, it was, COVID and our shitty federal government. And ever since, Mr. Putin has done Mr. Trudeau a huge fucking favor because he really stolen the limelight. And
absolutely.
So I'm less, me personally, I'm less concerned about Russia. I could give a shit, or Ukraine for that matter. I'm still more concerned about what's going on in my own country. I mean, if you look at if you keep track of like Parliament and the bills they're trying to pass and things like that, man, I don't know.
Absolutely. We're being distracted on a huge level at this point. We should be paying attention back to what's actually going on in Ottawa and why all of a sudden everything is being force fed us on another world away.
It's just impossible to keep you fucking guys on target. It's impossible.
You see one of those last comments from Joshua McLeod? He was asking why couldn't they just grant Ukraine membership? Oof. Well, I don't know. It's not that simple.
Great question, Josh.
Yeah, it's a good question, but I mean, I don't know. I think the reason that Ukraine's not a NATO country, number one, because
okay, well, hang on. Let's backtrack and focus on what he just said. There's a lot of fucking reasons besides the fact that Ukraine's a real popular country right now why they're not in the EU.
Greasy.
And their last leader, the guy before him that like fucking head faked him was a pro-Russia guy. There's a bunch of shit going on over there.
Absolutely.
Despite what you see today, because right now, I guarantee you 90% of the people watching this and 90% of the people in the Western world could not tell you fucking anything about the Ukraine outside of the last time the Russians annexed Crimea. But there's some greasy fucking shit. So to answer the question, to answer the question so we can move shit on here, is there's a lot of reasons the Ukraine is not part of the EU, let alone fucking NATO.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. If they were part of NATO, it actually would be World War III.
100%, because it has to be. It's Article 5. Go.
It would have to be. Yeah.
So it's actually a good thing they're not.
Peacemaking missions are never fun.
For those of you that don't know what that means, is any NATO country that comes under attack under Article 5 of the NATO Charter, all NATO countries must fucking jump in for the big win. Is the Coles Notes version thereof?
Yeah.
So it's a fair question, and I know that the president of the Ukraine has is trying to rush through membership into the EU. That's a great headline, but I just can't see that fucking even being on the table right now. It's like, sorry, buddy, you're kind of in the middle of a war. That's like somebody going through a messy divorce and says, hey, do you want to go date? No, not the best time. Maybe you need to defuck your shit first.
Yeah, I mean, they've been in that messy situation since 2014 when they just swallowed up the Crimea, right? I mean,
so
how long are we going to allow this to go on? It's already been since 2014.
Absolutely. The Ukraine has been under a lot of turmoil for fucking 8 years.
Ever.
Yeah.
And before that, but it's not history night. It's current event night.
Yeah.
But great question. It's just there's no way it happens like that. There's a reason they're not part of NATO. There's a reason they're not part of the EU, and there's reasons why neither of those will happen until the dust or fallout settles on what's going on currently. So let's have a look at. Hang on, I have an image. This is as of today. This is a representation of how much of the Ukraine that Russia, quote unquote, controls. Source Institute Study of War. So I never heard of who the fuck they are, but that sounds reputable. As of 2300 Greenwich Mean Time, 1 March. So kind of like yesterday. So clearly, for those of you who can't see this, the obvious area of interest is the one north of Kyiv, coming in and out of Belarus because they're real popular fuckers right now. The rest of those areas to the west towards Russia, and the southeast and east, and the area north of Crimea, and Kherson's now seized, by the way, as of like an hour ago. Those were kind of areas that were dominant Russian areas anyway, so it's not like a big fucking shocker. But of interest is that area north of Kyiv where they're coming through, mostly Belarus. So Belarus is clearly picked a side, and that's where this massive 60-mile long convoy of death is coming down the road, relatively unchallenged, and we'll come to that in a bit. So that's a bit of an idea of the geopolitical situation and what's going on there. I'm going to turn this bucket thing off. Come on, work with me. So yeah, so Bryce, tell me what you think about this. Have you ever been in a 60-mile? So Bryce, for those of you that don't know, was a trucker by trade, multiple deployments, including running and being involved in combat logistics patrols. We called them clips for short in Afghanistan,
100%,
which was basically, and you correct me if I'm wrong here, mostly resupply from Kandahar Airfield, which was southwest of Kandahar City. And the only way to get to where our guys were in further southwest of Kandahar City, because of road access, was either by air or you had to go all the way up Highway 4 through the south side of the city and then back down Lake Effect or fucking whatever. So they had to get there in a roundabout way. So he's very familiar with military convoys that would be under threat. So just give us and it's an opinion. Again, guys, we're not giving you, we're the facts as we see them through the media, and we put our spin on them based on our experience and our history. So don't consider us a fucking news source. So right at all. Tell us what you think.
Wow, yeah. First off, to quote a great general who I've seen as of recent say the same words, this convoy that's just kind of sitting there with this overt presence of death. It's got everything from your fuel trucks all the way to your tanks and your hard army points. These are high value targets. These are something that several strifes off an A-10 or an A-10 squadron, and the Ukraine has these. I honestly don't know why. It's just they're letting it sit there and just approach more and more as more logistics start to come. I don't understand. I personally have never been in. I missed the 06 tour where they moved everything from Kabul to Kandahar, so I didn't get to be in the giant convoy.
Oh, that would have been a big one. Yeah, right.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was the last big move officially with over 1,000 vehicles. I'm honestly, don't quote me on those numbers. But in my 08 tour, we had resupply convoys go out, or your CLPs, every day. If it wasn't our own that we were resupplying or moving people around for, we also resupplied the Americans, the UK, and anybody else. That part of what our jobs were to do is anything that blew up in the area was also, we were there to recover it as well too. So we were always on the move. If it wasn't a resupply convoy where we had everything from sea containers moved in with bombs, ammunition, ammo. There was also people pods moving around. We had VIP status going around. We were dog and pony showing people all sorts of places. There was a couple of movements that I know that put us in some serious stupidity when a couple of UK senior officers and chief warrant officers wanted to go and see the final implementation of the fuel farm that was just 10 clicks on the other side once you leave CAF. And normally the route is you go out and to the left, and everybody kind of knows that. But if you go off to the right, there's a couple patrol bases off that way, and there's also a fuel farm that we basically had all of our extra fuel and so forth. And man, there was a couple times where moving those people in and out, we had some amazing security from different countries that brought us through, because there was always moments where they thought we were water trucks and we were honestly just moving people around. So
I'm going to get to Josh's question because it ties into what we're talking about. So I want to talk about, before we get into the questions, my perspective, and this is what I said today, and you could correct me if I'm wrong because I'm not a fucking trucker. How I perceive what this convoy would look like from a composition perspective is it would have Obviously, defensive assets, front and rear, with logistics resupply in the center.
Yeah.
You would have anti-mine capabilities. The Russians would assume that the Ukrainians would attempt to mine the roads or disrupt them. So you'd have tanks with mine rollers and all that shit on it.
All of that stuff, including defensive vehicles,
Sure.
would be mixed in between each vehicle as well,
I-
if not
I
having
would-
a right seater.
Yeah, I would also assume they would have air support in the form of gunships that, depending on range, flying with them as long as they
100%.
could.
And maybe that's why they're not moving, because
and
they
maybe
don't have
that's
their
it.
air support. You know, they
Fast
know that they're vulnerable and they're sitting ducks at that point
Yep.
too.
Fast air sorties providing overhead, because the response should be, from my brain, as to how the Ukraine's doctrine would be. So the Ukraine has something called an Su-25, codenamed Frogfoot. It's not new, but they have upgraded ones, or had, which is kind of loosely the equivalent of an A-10.
Yeah.
And an A-10 is an American air-to-ground attack plane. You've seen them on fucking TV. Big, huge.
They got a big
fixed-wing
smile on the front
aircraft,
of their face.
subsonic, 30-millimeter gun with a fucking ton of surface or air-to-surface rocketry on it, basically to destroy tanks and armor.
Yeah.
So the
Light.
Frogfoot,
are they most most of their ammo is tipped too?
well,
They're
it
tank
depends.
busters?
Seeker heads, AGM, whatever the fuck it is, 35. I can't remember the acronyms.
They were employed as tank killers, though. Yeah.
Yes, that was their whole role. They try to retire them. Anyways, the Soviet, now Russian, now Eastern Bloc equivalent to that is the Su-25, which the Ukraine possesses. The question is, without air superiority, you can't use those assets. So
100%.
the response would be, how I would do it is, if you can get artillery, I'm an artillery guy, obviously, to conduct missions, engage those targets on the front and rear to cripple the front and rear, or at least disrupt the road.
Oh yeah. And then
Right.
they're sitting ducks.
That would be followed by an air attack. But in order to do that, you need air defense assets to come in. This is where those Stinger missiles would come in handy, to take out the helicopters and or air sorties that protect that convoy, to allow those Su-25s to go do their job. If you can't do that, you need to bring in, you need to start fucking up choke points and canalizing terrain, bridges, anywhere you can mine.
Yeah.
This is counter ID shit for me, just from the flip side. Find that terrain where you can effectively employ those devices that will at least cripple them. And I know we all know they're stalled out according to the media, just nobody knows why. So one guy speculates it's supply line, which is very probable.
Well, they did have their fuel. They did have their fuel line cut off last week.
Well, here's where we jump into
explosion.
Josh's question. Is it true the Russians ran out of gas and food a few days into the war?
Yeah.
You know,
they also have a major problem with personnel just leaving their tanks around, because, as Josh has said, there's a couple of YouTube videos. It's actually quite funny. You actually see locals. They've got their YouTube channel up, and it's showing them how to start and operate it once there's fuel in that vehicle. It's amazing.
Now that being said, like that, this is all we're being shown. We're being shown.
Yeah.
You know, the Russians are stalled out. You know, go join the Ukrainian Foreign Legion. You know, like go fight the good fight, be a freedom fighter. But I mean, any of us, like, I mean, that joined the army when we were, you know, still fighting the Soviets. I mean, you remember a little bit about Soviet doctrine. So if they're following like old school like Soviet doctrine, I mean, we should know that, like, we have not seen the full might of the Russian military. Who are they going to be putting in front? The shitty units up front. It's, you know, it's recce by contact, and it's going to be all the conscripts. So no wonder like their logistics is fucked, and they're leaving tanks behind because it's all the shitty conscripts. All their T-80s and their T-90s and Spetsnaz. Those guys are hanging out in the event that like shit really gets hot. Then they'll send in their real army. You know. That's my opinion anyway, just based on Soviet doctrine and
I believe that too. And I got a lot of guys arguing with me. And again, I'm not stating the facts. I'm stating a fucking opinion based on what I know and what I'm looking at. And I spent a lot of time looking at imagery of destroyed Russian armor today. And my humble opinion, not to get into each piece, was that is not their best kit. It's not their worst, but is most certainly not their top of the line shit. Which tells me they're not sending their top of the line guys yet. When you got
No.
fucking a guy, there was a video of this kid on the phone to his mom who's captured, going, "Yeah, I'm captured. I thought I was on a peacekeeping mission," and his mom doesn't know he's at war. I'm like, give me a fucking break. There's not. I get passage of information might be limited. However, you pretty much get orders and you're told what you're going to go do. So I'm really struggling with this.
Well, there's a lot of misinformation out there. Yeah. They're saying that some of them are on peacekeeping.
If this is a cross section of the fucking Russian military on its best, we'll win because they're fucking the most junk army on earth. Or wait a minute, maybe, just maybe, this is the B team. He sends them in first to soften up the fucking enemy positions. Recce by contact. You know what that means.
Yeah.
Figure out where all the hard positions are. And he can figure out how long it takes for his supply line to be, expanded. There's a lot of fucking information you can get by this tactic, and it's hypothetical for everybody watching.
Yeah.
Right. I send it all these fucking losers. I move my pawns forward on the chessboard.
Yeah.
Watch them fall over. Watch how the rooks, bishops, and fucking move around the table. I know that I could figure out the hard points. I could figure out how long my logistical supply lines are and where I fall down. And I can gauge the world response. Because even if he flips and goes, whoa, okay, and goes to the table, guess where his A team is? Safe and secure back behind the line, man.
Absolutely.
So that's just my theory. There's no substance to that. Other than my experience and what I fucking think and how I would do it if I was
how we were trained. We were all earlier trained in our military skills, basically ready to defend.
And I know there's a lot of people out there that might and validly argue against that, but I still think I haven't seen the heavy guns that I would expect from Russian doctrine. The Russian military uses artillery more than any army in the world. And we've yet to see that.
Yeah.
I agree. Shelling here and there. And I'm waiting for the hammer to come. So,
I wonder if there's so much dissension within the ranks, within the military on the Russian side that maybe that's why we're not seeing the A game. Maybe the A game has actually realized, well,
you might be right. We don't know that. The A game might be smarter. There could be infighting with generals.
Maybe there's a revolt. There's rumors of
his own oligarchy,
murdered.
Rich Russian fuckers are putting bounties on his head today.
Yeah. $1 million on his head. That's incredible.
Oh, so $1 million is
on
nothing.
Mr. Putin.
Listen, he's got the resources to come at that one guy. $1 million for a billionaire. I would have offered 100 million and got 10 guys or 100 guys at $1 million.
Yeah.
Well, what he's going to get now is just every Tom, Dick, and Harry who wants $1 million. They're going to try and revolt and push against that way. And maybe that's what they're trying to get as well. Those secret billionaires in the background are usually the ones doing the shot calls anyways and sitting back in the safety of their own condos. So, we see it in our own country.
Josh, got another interesting question. We're going to segue to Q&A and just finish up in a bit here, apparently. I'm going to try to cover your comments as much as possible, guys. So, is there a threat to Western nations? Wow. Maybe you're dealing with a fucking crazy man who's getting painted into a corner who didn't expect.
There absolutely is threats. I mean, like there's the normal threats that everybody thinks of, like ICBMs or intercontinental ballistic missiles, because they've been developing these things. Like he put his nuclear arsenal on high alert.
Yeah.
Actually, those are one things. I highly doubt those things are going to be used. But you know what is going to be used? Like electronic warfare. Hacking computer systems. That's where he's really going to start messing with people. Like this is, like 3 and goddamn 5-dimensional warfare. It's not World War II. We're not worried about like missiles and machine guns. We're worried about, Dr. Evil fucking zapping you with a laser from space and pretty much shutting down your country's economy.
Yeah. They are still blowing up apartment buildings from what it looks like, though.
In Ukraine, but I mean, there's no threat to Canada.
Yeah, I mean, I really
not yet until he snaps.
Think,
and he finds out who's been supplying all the rockets and everything else to defend. And then he's also got his nuclear system just sitting there by a push of a button. So
nobody says,
so is everybody else.
Nobody says if you're going to use nukes, you don't say I've turned on my nukes.
You
just fucking do it. So I don't see that. There's no way somebody in his staff's going to go, we're not going to the nuclear option because you just fucking ended the planet.
Yeah.
But he's crazy enough, man. Like his ego is on the line. He thought he was going to wrap this bitch up in 2-3 days, and we're on day 7, and he hasn't seized near the ground he thought he would have.
Yeah.
And now, and the whole fucking planet is against him. Even China's like, yeah, we're going to hang back.
Yeah.
Like
that's what China always does.
Friends, man. He's got no
at the
friends.
same
His
time,
economy's crippled. So what's he going to do?
Is he just grabbing enough property in the Ukraine to pass that pipeline that he's wanting to push
so that's
through?
Not enough. Those areas that we highlighted. So the areas that are Russian, let's say more Russian than Ukraine, are not enough of the buffer that he wants against the West.
Yeah.
He ultimately wants, and nobody really argues with me, to rebuild a new version of the Iron Curtain. And the Ukraine, for him, makes the most sense first. And he'll want at least 60, 70% of it. Not that fucking 8% that he's got, or 12, whatever it looks like. It's not enough. And now, like, assuming he's an egotistical megalomaniac, I think I might be right. And the world's close against him, and he's not winning. How far is he going to dig in? And are his people going to take him out of play? Which is what needs to happen. The people of Russia are the ones who can fix this, not Putin and not the West.
No, but what do the people of Russia actually want? I don't know.
They don't fucking know, because half of them don't even know what's going on, apparently. I mean,
there's a lot of them that are starving and not paying their own bills, man. I mean, at the same time, they're not really a first world country over there.
Figure it out. There's protests in the street, which means the young people of Russia know. As long as they have continued flow of information, if these videos are true, which it's hard to gauge, about these young Russian kids taking this $50,000 offer to switch sides, and they're getting in contact back with their moms, and that word spreads, it'll take time, but ultimately the Russian people will know what's going on, and then they have to make the decision. Do we want to really live like this with the whole planet sanctioning us and hating us, or are we going to take this fucking guy out of play? It's up to them.
Like Positive Mike mentioned in the comments there are apparently a lot of protests, and the civilians in Russia are up in arms, and there's videos of hundreds of thousands of people out packing the streets, revolting against. So do we know what's actually going on? Because we're not getting anything now from Russia. So Trudeau has already pushed everything to censor all sorts of internet content. So what do we actually get?
Yeah.
And the protests
are
disappearing.
Exactly. We're invading the Ukraine. What the fuck's going on back here?
100%, man. Why are we being distracted with Russia and Ukraine issues right now? Yeah, when last week we had someone who was running the country who was being charged with treason. Like there's things that shouldn't be.
Yeah. Right. And that's another thing, actually. I guess. Hey, Chris, you want to segue into some of your things about like the Russian or the Ukrainian Foreign Legion, for lack of better terms?
Yeah, we can jump into that.
Yeah. So here's a funny little bit of food for thought for everybody, right? So prior to this, like, we had all of our own protests and all of our own issues in Alberta, in the rest of Canada, right? And now people are all up in arms, and people were up in arms about that, and they were pissing and moaning, and they sit around and they fucking piss and they moan, and a lot of average people just kind of sat back into nothing, and then a lot of truckers went to Ottawa. But they've got people actually willing to go to war for a foreign country, like not even a great one. Like, it's okay, I guess. I wouldn't want to live there, but this okay country. I'm thinking, like, these are probably some of the same people who probably didn't even send an email to a member of parliament to either say, I agree with these truckers, or I'm pissed off with these truckers, or you know what I mean, or so people won't even exercise their civic duty as a Canadian here in Canada to sort out their own country, but they're willing to pick up a rifle to go to some other shit country. Like, what's going on, man?
Yeah, well, I think that's where the Russians got the whole idea of a convoy. They went, fuck, man, look at all them rednecks from Alberta who drove all the way to Ottawa and challenged. Pretty sure we can get to Kiev.
Yeah.
Who knows? Anyway, going on down that path,
No, he's not being charged with treason. Absolutely not. No, he should be. The amount of stuff that he's selling us out with.
Boys, we're not fucking going there, okay? I already got a headache.
All
I
right.
already got a headache, okay? Let's save that
That's
shit for a fucking another day. I want to stay focused on Ukraine, not Trudeau, not convoys, not hot tubs and fucking freedom fighters in Ottawa.
But like, I mean, if you look, I believe Ukraine is one of the most corrupt countries in the world. Like it is, right? It's like Afghanistan level corruption. Like,
Yeah,
well,
next level.
they're not doing their best.
No, so you look at Zelensky, the president, right? The Russians think that he's just a puppet for the West, and you know, if you look at some of it, like, you know, you could see why people would say that, or you see why the Russians would say that. Now, prior to Zelensky, it was what was the president's name? Started with a P. Polachenko. Like, anyway, yeah,
never enough.
Yeah, so the last,
and he was corrupt on the Russian side. So
yeah, he was pro-Russian, and then like NATO and us were piping off saying, "Oh, he's a Russian puppet." So, and then they had all these, and there were scandals and everything that would back what the Russians were saying. You know what I mean? So, I mean,
yeah, I know, but like your average consumer of media today has the fucking attention span of the length of a chip bag commercial.
Yeah.
It's like a goldfish swimming around. Look, it's a castle. Look, it's a castle. Like, fuck me. No,
so
you're
no matter.
correct. There was a bunch of shit going on in Ukraine, which is, again, we're going in a circle here. Why they're not in the EU? Why they're not in NATO? That being said, fair enough. But right now, in real time, they are being aggressed by fucking the Russians, which is not fucking cool.
Yeah.
Which takes us to what's happening over here. So let me bring it up. I was stumbled across. I'm going to bring you guys a series of news clips.
Great point. Chinese based. Yeah, absolutely. Hold everybody's attention for 30 seconds to 3 minutes, and you can brainwash just about anybody.
That's right. Sorry, you're still on the big screen. All right. So this is some shit that came out of the National Post today. Again, for our listeners, hundreds of Canadians have volunteered to fight Russians in Ukraine, diplomat says. And I grabbed kind of some key highlights and I'll go through them. This came from an expression of interest in the program organized by Kiev's diplomatic mission. Comes as an Ontario businessman, which we'll come to in a second, launches his own operation for would-be foreign fighters. So the expression of interest in the program organized by Kiev's diplomatic mission. I already just fucking read this. That's great. Doing well. Okay, so while some Canadians have already headed towards the Ukraine, and I actually know a group leaving Thursday, and this ideological young man who Dean Blundell knows very well, was on the show the other day. He's in Hungary right now. The two developments point to a broader, more organized effort to gather willing combatants in this country. And this is kind of important, is 3-4 days ago, you just had guys packing their shit and trying to fucking get to Ukraine. Now it's getting some structure to it. I'm going to show you the two organizations doing that. Volunteers will become part of what Kyiv call it is the International Legion for the Territorial Defense of Ukraine. That's a fucking long word. We're going to call it the International Brigade because I'm going to keep forgetting what that is. But that's what he's looking for. So the Ukraine government put out an expression of interest for foreign fighters to come support them. Now, so everybody understands, as of, I believe it was 2012, the Ukrainian army could officially bring in foreigners into that army to come fight for them as they got into the shit in 2014 forward. But this is a different thing. This is calling upon anybody willing to come and help fight can join this thing called the International Legion for the Territorial Defense of Ukraine. And there's a website, a Canadian website, defendukraine.ca. And this is actually it. Ukraine needs your help. Join the resistance now. It's like some World War II fucking recruiting banner. There it is. And all they got on this website is this lovely cover page. And there's the basic application form. Name, number, email, birthday, and a message. Pretty fucking basic.
Enough shit to hack every single platform that you own at that point.
Well, that's their start.
I almost
right?
wonder if that's the government.
that's a Canadian fucking webpage, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
So going back, Ukraine needs your help. Join the resistance now. Declare the website defendukraine.ca, directing would-be fighters to fill out an online form. There's been a concerted international effort to support Ukraine with the supplies and weapons. There's a great need for people to join the defense. We're going to talk about that.
Boy, we should question where the money in that fucking that website goes.
Absolutely.
I'd like to know who controls that. There's no way that it was set up overnight by somebody who's actually supporting the Ukraine or has anything good.
Fuck, man. Glass is half empty fucking hooper.
Not a chance, man. I've seen far too much in my life of almost 40 years that there's no way, like echoing what Ryan Perry says, when you actually go and see some of these countries, how corrupt it is with generals that'll sell stuff at the highest price to whomever. My experiences overseas with fuel, being a truck driver, man, I saw some pretty shady shit go on for aircraft fuel and so forth. And that was Afghanistan based. I could only imagine in the Ukraine.
Yeah, no, and fair enough. You're not wrong. Canadians who join up through the Ukraine missions will likely undergo a vetting process over several days and be sent over in groups funded by an expected flood of private donations, says Boris, no way I'm ever going to pronounce that last name, a former Liberal MP and prominent Ukrainian Canadian. They would receive some rudimentary training in Poland. So the bulk of this, they're flying into Poland first. And actually, the guys I know that are going over are leaving for Poland Thursday, and then get sorted the fuck out and then go to the border. Helping prepare Canadians who make that commitment is the new project of Chris Eklund. This is a different thing. He's the Hamilton, Ontario businessman who spent $1 million of his own money to rescue former Canadian employees threatened by the Taliban in Afghanistan. So this is a different guy, and he's got his own webpage. It's brand new, like 2 days ago. There's nothing on it yet. And this guy already kicked in $1 million of his own money to help get people out of Afghanistan. He's got a different thing going on. Eklund said Tuesday he's setting up an organization to support Canadians and other foreigners who want to fight the Russian invasion. Its own website. There you go, fightforukraine.ca. That's the other one. And it went live Tuesday. There's no sign up shit on it yet or anything like that, but that's the second one next to the one that you're automatically assuming is corrupt. The outfit, manned by some of the same veterans who tried to get Canada's ex-employees out of Afghanistan, will also provide a speeded up basic training program. So Morgan, you and me were kind of talking about what that looked like earlier. But a key function will be offering practical advice on how to reach Ukraine and what to bring. So it's like, how do you contact the your respective Ukraine embassy saying that you're willing to do this? How does it work? How do you get to Poland, which seems to be the de facto staging area, although I know some people have gone to Hungary. And then what does it look like from there? And that's what these two organizations are claiming to meet you fuckers in the middle, claiming to say, hang on, people, I'll get to your shit in a second. I'm running my own board here. Oh, kids. Okay, when I'm fucking around, this is where you assholes jump in and say whimsical shit to allow me to fucking get to the chats. Thank you. Thought you were
whimsical shit.
Andy, the Ukraine is far too corrupt for the U.S. to support NATO bid. Yeah, Zelensky was named in the Pandora. Oh, that sounds interesting.
I'd like to dig into that one. Yeah, what is
Putin
that?
still sucks donkey dong. And there's your quote of the day. You
There
just
it
want
is.
a free fucking toaster.
But
Putin,
Putin still sucks donkey dong.
The only thing is, like,
point
the funny thing about, like, say Putin versus like our politicians, like Putin's how long has he been saying he's going to invade? Like, he annexed the Crimea in 2014. He's been saying it the whole time. And
Yeah.
Okay, well,
oh my God,
no.
Yeah.
He never said he was going to invade.
Oh yeah, that's right. He told the world
He
one
said
thing.
I was going to go liberate.
Yeah, but exactly. But we can read
All
between
in
the
words.
lines. So whatever words he was using, like, we knew everybody knew what he was saying.
No, it should not have
Right?
been a surprise. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh my God, he did it.
Yeah.
While we were all looking at fucking rednecks in a hot tub in Ottawa, Here's what's going on.
which is probably just another big distraction within our own.
Yeah.
Oh
There's-
my God. You got your own conspiracy theory website? I'm going to help you set that fucker up.
But like I said,
no, it's funny. I even called mask mandates back in the day. And I'm not one to argue either masks or no masks or vaccines or no vaccines. Fuck off. That's your own choice. I don't give a fuck about your health. Don't ask me about mine. I won't talk to you about your sex orientation either, kind of thing. So
yeah, absolutely.
Right. But at the same time, when I was sitting with my brothers almost 2.5 years ago, and we were all laughing about it at a truck stop going, like, there's no way that these people are going to actually sit there and take advantage of this mask thing. And boom, there it is. 2 years later, and we still have an Alberta premier who is telling us that we have no mandates, and then we have an Edmonton mayor who is putting in his own mask mandates. And there's obviously reasons for this. There's somebody looking at numbers and talking with AHS, and you almost have to wonder, what is actually all of this going on? Like, why isn't there something more truthful? Why hasn't there been more education?
Are you doing this to me on purpose?
Absolutely. I'm trying to fucking stress that little I see that vein in your forehead.
Anything
Man.
that you just had to say have to fucking do with the Ukraine. You fucking guys.
Yeah, so
giant
you
distraction.
guys call each other like an hour in advance and say, let's completely fucking
let's go. Yeah.
thing.
No, like I said, when you think about like just Russia in general, I mean, Putin's the classic like Russian strongman. Like that's the type of leader that the Russians like. And when they don't have a strong leader,
he's a president who has a prime minister underneath him. Absolutely.
Let me ask you guys this seriously, so we can not talk about Jason Kenney and masks and fucking conspiracy theories in Ottawa for 2 seconds. We'll do an entire what Bryce wants to talk about episode next week, because I won't fucking be here and you two dicks can run this.
Well, we're talking about cannabis for a little bit.
Do you think that so Buddy puts out this $1 million bounty today, and Positive Mike had a good comment, like those oligarch fuckers got rich off Putin, which is a great point, but now they like being rich and he's fucking with their shit. And rich people aren't rich because they're not ruthless. Mike, you can weigh in here and I'll post your shit. Do you think that they will actually fucking go through with it? Are they going to do it? He kind of has to now, because if they don't, Putin's going to send his boys and kill him. Right? So to me, the gauntlet's down. If you look at Putin's history of dealing with fucking people that go against him, and
he's poisoned people.
Yeah,
he's reached out and poisoned people in North America, and then
UK. That British guy, man, that's some cloak and dagger bullshit right there. That's some Bond stuff.
Yeah.
So this guy, and I didn't get a caption of it because it wasn't really. It became late. But this guy fucking basically said $1 million. Like, I think he went light for a billionaire. Like, I would have went higher.
No, but then you're enticing the small people who don't have $1 million. Because to you and I, $1 million would change our lives. Could you imagine what it would do to somebody over in wherever? Somebody try and get close to him. I'll give you $1 million.
But he's got to anticipate a very rapid response. I would go fucking all in and go, I want this guy dead in 48 hours, 100 million to whoever gets it done. Because if not, Putin's guys will kill him.
There's platforms and places to talk about that. And somebody who had that kind of money who would actually want that to happen would just get it done.
I'll bet that this guy shows up, tits up in the Adriatic just off the coast of Dubrovnik in 48 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'll bet.
Wild.
Yeah, man.
He's gotten out of control.
Well, no, man. Putin's a gangster. Like, straight up.
Yeah.
Putin is fucking OG gangster.
He is, man. He's a gangster. Like, if you tell Putin you're going to kill him, what do you think he's going to do? Like, he's a gangster, man. He's probably thinking, he's like, hilarious. You probably shouldn't have told me that. You've showed me your hand. Like,
yeah. Now I know that you don't want me around your circle. You're no longer in my circle. Absolutely. One of the billionaires who thought he was calling shots in Russia is probably going to end up, or they just will never find him because he'll just feed him to the dogs.
Yeah. I mean, you could say $1 million bucks. I get what you're saying, but if I'm a billionaire, I'm going 100 million, 48 hours, proof of life, get it done.
Yeah, absolutely.
That gets people's attention.
Maybe that's why he doesn't want to. Maybe that was just another flashbang.
So all that being said, do you think this will become a trend as Putin further what's the word I'm looking for? Closes Moscow and Russia into a bubble.
Yeah. He creates his
become a
own
pariah, and the people slowly figure out what's going on and wake up and see what's going on in the world. And he realizes his end game is not happening the way he wants, and now his buddies are turning on him because they're ruthless millionaires just like him, billionaires. I digress.
Yeah.
Do you think that this is the beginning of the end of Putin? That's my question for you guys and our lovely viewers out there.
I think this is going to be a bigger power grab for him. I don't see this being a short flash with Putin. This is just another power move for him. He's going to grab what he wants, recoil. World's not going to do anything. Maybe it won't be this week, next week, but I could see it being larger scale for sure.
More, what do you think, man?
The Bills to a rabbit.
Yeah, I don't know. It could potentially be the beginning of the end for him. I mean, I could kind of go either way on this, but if he loses or things don't work out and he looks like an idiot. I mean, like I said, like historically, Russians don't do well with weak leaders. Like weak leaders. I mean, look at the last Tsar of Russia. The reason he was the last Tsar is because he was weak and he got overthrown. I mean, the Russians, they like to be ruled with an iron fist. So if he shows like any weakness at all, he's done because somebody else will take him out.
Yeah, but I'm not sure it's weakness so much as I completely shit the fucking bed.
Yeah, but to the Russians, that's weakness. You lost. You're weak.
Fair enough. So we're arguing the same thing from two.
Who's the next guy that's going to stand up? Is what
I don't
Putin.
think that fucking who knows, but I don't think Putin expected. First of all, it to take this long. I think he thought that Ukraine was going to roll over quicker than it did. I don't think that he expected the Western response to be what it was, even though they claim they economically planned for sanctions, etc. And I don't think he expected his people, whether it's a bunch of fucking kids, out in front of whatever the Kremlin, waving placards, or these rich guys putting bounties on his head to happen. That's a lot of shit going against you in 7 days. I honestly, I believe, and I actually hope the fastest resolution to this is his own people take him out. Somebody else steps up to save face for Mother Russia and goes, fucking hang on. He's gone.
Recoil. Yeah.
Let's go to the table and have a conversation, ceasefire, fucking wait out.
Yeah, because the big bear finally. Go ahead, Chris. Sorry.
That's my hope. That's all I have.
Yeah. But I think that, it'll almost be like 1991 all over again. Soviet Union falls, and then who's in charge? You got Boris Yeltsin, or not Boris Yeltsin, Gorbachev. You got Gorbachev and Perestroika and all this shit, and it didn't work out, and the place fell apart, right? Like,
yeah, no, fair enough.
This is a giant flex. Yeah, he's showing everybody that he's the big bear, is what he's showing. He's even had fucking plastic surgery. If you look into it, man.
The question is,
there's another conspiracy for you. Go look at his puffy face.
Yeah, I saw that, man. And I think he's.
Or has he just been replaced? How much of a conspiracy do you want to talk about?
If you watched the Bionic Man back in the 70s like I did, he could be a fembot.
Yeah, absolutely. He's just another one of them robots or reptilians.
I love that Elon Musk put his own satellite over Russia to feed int. Like, wow. Some fucking civvy that goes to space by himself and builds electric cars says, yeah, fuck it, I'll throw a satellite up there.
That being said, Mr. Putin, he could probably, he's probably still got a few, tricks up his sleeve.
I think there's more game. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think he's got game still.
I think this is the start of the circus. This is just a little splash show, the entry.
Do you guys think that the Western world's response thus far is good with leaving NATO out of it? What do you think?
Yeah, I think so, because pushing we're if the Russians are big dogging and then we big dog the Russians, where the fuck think that's going?
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
So they big dog.
I think we're unanimous on that.
If the world doesn't react to this convoy of how many 100 kilometers? No, how many was it? 60 kilometers of people.
60 miles.
60 miles.
It's
Sorry.
an arbitrary number. Fuck, I don't know. You can probably Google Elon Musk
Okay,
satellite
if
imagery
the
and
world
measure it,
allows that to hit Kiev, I think that's when we know what's actually happening. They're just going to let it fall, or they're not going to let it fall. I mean, that in itself is a giant, like General Hillier himself said, that is a prime target location. Like there should be sorties flying every other second. There should be no reason.
Here's the thing. So here's the option that no one's thought about, but there's been rumors of it. So I get why NATO isn't collectively sitting around with their long ass drawn out bureaucratic fucking decision making process out of Belgium. But you may have heard a little bit between the lines. There is potential for a insert big country here, coalition of the willing led, not NATO, to say we're fucking going.
Yeah, the U.S. is going to try and save face and go in.
When does that,
positive Mike's comment, though?
Which one
How
is
would
it?
the world stop in? How would they stop it? There's UAVs, there's drones, there's stuff in the Black Sea and in the Crimean area that are more than willing and able to having that asset that would be able to stop. No, he had said, how would the world actually be able to stop that?
I'm trying to find it for fuck's sake.
No. It's
hey,
okay.
Mike, we get what you're getting at.
Yeah.
No, how does the world stop it? I honestly think it's off to the better start than I thought it was going to. I thought the world was going to respond slower than it did in 7 days. The level of economic sanctions there's sanctions I never even fucking thought of or heard of, and I'm not an economist. I got grade 8 Saskatchewan education, so bear with me. I didn't perceive what it was, and the fact the arms influx and fun, like even Prime Minister Selfie Stick said he's going to donate 100 Carl Gustavs in a fucking laundry bag full of C5 fighting knives, which is great of him. Really
gas masks. Hey ho!
You know, why don't you not do that and save the embarrassment and belt feed 60 million down to the States instead of fucking sex changes in Africa, and buy fucking Javelin, which is not the best anti-tank man portable, but it's pretty fucking good. And just buy a whack of those and send them over. And at least, you look like the cool kid at the party. But now we're sending like used fucking shitty kit. So whatever. Don't get me wrong. They can use that stuff. They can employ.
So you shitty kit, you mean like the same stuff we have?
Yeah, the shit that we had in Afghanistan.
So actually, Morgan, you're
using now.
What's the fucking current kick-ass fucking ordinance for a Carl G? Can it penetrate that armor?
There is, well, once again, depending on what vehicles they exactly have, they're like what model. I mean, you could have like a T-72, but then there's like a T-72, like, an upgraded model. And depending on who's sending ordnance over, I mean, the Americans have ordnance for the 84.
No. I'm talking about we're sending Carl G and Carl G ammo. What's our, like, I've been out for a few years. What's our latest, greatest fucking heat round that fits in a fucking that tube?
Off the top of my head, I'm not sure, but
if it's the same one I remember, it's not going to penetrate fucking that Soviet reactive armor. It'll take
it won't.
BTR-80s, BRDMs, BMPs.
Not the ammo we're sending them anyway.
Oh, here's something that we should dive into. The comment from Andy.
Where is
I'd like to see where the convoy is stopped at the airport where there was a former secret military test base. Hey ho, I'd like to see that.
Oh, Andy, are you our conspiracist theory?
Yes, sir. That's awesome.
you and fucking Bryce can go on all night, man.
So now they're going to have King Kong fights. No, who would be
Godzilla
in the Ukraine? What kind of giant animal are we looking
I don't
at?
know I don't know anything about that, so I can't speak to it.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it either.
But
very interesting though.
Fuck if he knows about anything or not, we'll fucking weigh in.
Yeah, Andy, throw some links in the comments. I want to dig into this one.
Yeah, man.
And the papers and the other one that I had to look into the comments where there was other papers that Danielle or somebody else.
Yes, please. If you got weird ass conspiracy shit, put it in the comments, and I will direct Bryce to answer them, and I will personally promptly ignore them.
Maybe that's what we'll do. We'll do a cannabis and conspiracy theory show next one.
I think we fucking should, because we're gonna need a break from this Ukraine shit.
I wonder are they the cannabis and the conspiracy theories, are they linked? You dirtbag.
Hey,
I wonder how many of those Russian guys are high as fuck right now. I really do.
Did you hear about the The
No.
Russian women with plenty of fish, or no, whatever.
No. Yeah. So get this. So this
You
is
were
the
talking
rumor.
about it earlier. Yeah.
So apparently these Russian guys, this is what I've read, and it doesn't mean it's true, are like soliciting Ukrainian women on the Tinder machine there.
Tinder, yeah.
All you kids are into these days. They're all
Tinderizers.
And allegedly, these young Ukrainian chicks are taking that to the Ukrainian military as an int source to the locations of where these fucking guys are.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Well done.
I think
How could they not be so stupid? You know, like you almost wonder if that's why they were putting people out there. That first wave of stupidity.
And I don't know if that's true. I know that they're these Russian Plan B fuckers are doing dumb shit like that because that's what kids
amazing.
do. Everywhere I go, the young guys are always on their Tinder.
Hey, boys, food for thought. Imagine now, like if we if NATO was invading a country, and we spoke the same language more or less.
Yeah.
And we were more or less the same type of people. Like,
yeah.
I'm thinking if I was a platoon warrant, I'd be like, all right, give me all your goddamn phones, right?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
If this is a semi-permissive environment, I know what these guys are doing. Like, I'm looking
It's
at these
happened
Russians
in other
and I'm like,
countries.
Can't blame them.
Yeah,
right?
that language barrier doesn't stop soldiers to get in trouble.
This is the modern version. This is today's version of like your great grandfather fucking married some Dutch chick during the liberation.
Yeah.
Hey,
they don't speak English, but they don't speak Dutch. But hey ho,
or
look
whatever.
at that.
But it's just kind of weird that like the invading army is talking to the local fucking women that he's about to come in and bomb.
But Chris, what do you think happened in Vietnam? I mean, when the guys were in Nam, like they'd be in Saigon and they'd be going off the whorehouses all over the place, like.
Yeah, but if that's true, like that half these fucking guys don't even know they're going to war and they think they're on some peace support op. Sure. We're going to go meet Ukrainian chicks and party in Kiev. Oh, wait a minute. Why's fast air
Could you imagine, though? Could you imagine that wool being pulled over your eyes as a soldier, though, where all of a sudden you're being sent in and you're like, hey, we're going to be there for a peacekeeping mission. We're going to be able to go and like hook up all we need to.
Sure.
Slay some Ukrainians.
Like
they're all smoking hot over there.
I'm going to Napa, Nipple Beach. I'm going to fucking party, which I did because we weren't invading fucking Cyprus.
Yeah.
So, yeah, maybe that lends credibility to the theory that these young fuckers on wave one actually believe they're going on some peacekeeping mission and don't have a clue. So they're on the old Tinder machine, scoping out the old doing recce. Good young men that they are.
Well,
There's the odd guy on Grindr.
Social media discrepancy.
So one thing I read that Putin said he along with peacekeeping and other things. One article, I can't remember what news source it was from, but Putin said one of the reasons they were going into Ukraine was denazification was the actual word in the article, and then they referenced the Azov regiment or the Azov battalion in that fought in eastern Ukraine and Crimea in 2014 because they're I think prior to being an actual unit, they were essentially a far right militia, and now they've been kind of soaked up by the Russian military. And anyway, when you look at their flag and their insignia, it's the old SS Waffen Wolf Angel, except it's turned this sideways.
Wow!
And they've got a lot of extremely right wing shit going on, and that's pretty big coming from me, man, because I'm a hardline right winger.
Yeah, absolutely. That actually surprises me. I didn't know that at all, homie. That opens my eyes. I know there's a lot of talk about and conspiracy about the neo-Nazism that's going on in the Ukraine.
Well, you know what? We are 100% doing a conspiracy theory episode led by fucking Bryce and Morgan.
Well,
and I'm not even going to be on the fucking thing other than to run the board.
There you go.
Yeah, see, there you go. See, Ryan Perry just said, he goes, yeah, the Azov battalion is still operating as its own entity.
Ryan, you're gonna be Ryan. You'll be the fucking guest on this episode.
Actually, yeah, we should have Ryan on because he's an intelligent motherfucker. Regardless,
Ryan, you're coming on the conspiracy episode in 2 weeks or whenever we do it.
But no, just back to that, the Azov battalion. If you Google it, it's not conspiracy. The unit exists. It was in the Canadian media. I want to say in 2018. There were pictures of some of our trainers that were there. They got pictures with Ukrainian soldiers with these, this far right, these far right symbols, things like that, and people had shit for it big time. So, So if you Google like Azov Battalion or Azov Regiment, and
Yeah,
you
that's
look
not
at it,
what I
like they
Googled,
wear
man.
Ukrainian uniforms. It's all open source. Like it's not. This isn't like some clandestine thing. Like
Yeah,
it's
it's
very
wide
well
open.
known and
Just
well
so
reported
everybody
on.
who's
Wow.
listening and watching, this is why I have these guys, because they Google shit I would never fucking Google, and they bring it to the table.
Yeah, man, Positive Mike, brother, just Google Azov Battalion or Azov Regiment,
Yeah.
and you'll get everything you need there. Like you won't have to dig very far at all.
Mike
Just
will be
remember
all
to
over that
log off
fucking
of your
shit.
Google account before you start Googling this stuff.
Yeah,
They'll start
get yourself a
tracking
VPN and incognito, you know. Yeah,
Same
I don't
way
know. It's gonna be
forward.
interesting. This shit, it's gonna be very interesting as to how this unfolds. And like I've been on Dean's show 3 times in a week to kind of break it down, and that's purely from my perspective. But there's things happening that I didn't expect. There's things happening that I'm like, wow, I didn't see that coming, or I thought they would do something differently or expected more, I guess.
Yeah.
And then I start breaking down, well, why would they be as fucked up as they are and behind the balls they are, and try to, come up with some fucking sinister reason as to why that would be. Ultimately, I hope I'm wrong. I hope the Russian army is this shitty. I really do. I also
Outdated,
hope that
overspent. Maybe.
fucking, I find it hard to believe that the Russian army sucks that bad, because
They've been one of the biggest threats for so long, dude. But I mean,
I know our army is in a real fucking great position, but fuck, man, you can't tell me. I know they got their asses handed to them in Afghanistan, and I've said before, if you think that insurgency you dealt with then is anything like what's coming in Western Europe, you are fucking smoking. Because
the other thing with the Russian military, Chris, all of like the propaganda, the media that we've been fed. I mean, even like within the military about like the state of the Russian military. Like we know the state of our military, and it kind of sucks. And it's been cut after cut after cut. We've been led to believe that the Russian military has just invested in their capabilities. So we think that the Russian bear is at full strength again. The most cliche thing people will say is never underestimate your enemy. Well, flip side of that coin is don't overestimate your enemy, because it's kind of like that classic, when you're strong appear weak, when you're weak appear strong. Well, right now, like Mr. Putin, he's, people are like, oh my God, ballistic missiles and nukes and all kinds of crazy shit. But really, like, he might just have like a T-72 and a couple of BTRs and just like a bunch of stick figures, like who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah,
from the north.
I haven't heard one negative thing about like the capabilities of the Russian military in quite a while. I've been told like their tanks are better, their APCs are better, their body armor is better, their EW is better, everything is better. That's what I've been told.
Sure,
that's just what they've been putting out for 20 years.
I don't know if I've been told that per se, but I believe that they were far more professional, capable, competent, and equipped than what I'm seeing. So that's why I went with this whole B team theory. And again, it's just a fucking theory.
Oh, I would love to see the second
everybody
scene
wants
to
to quote
this.
me on this, but I said I'm waiting for fucking Act 2. Like I just don't.
Yeah, 100%.
There's no way.
I want to see the start to the fireworks. I want to see it start to take off.
Smart, and his general staff is that smart, and he's going all in, which is what he's doing on the Ukraine. That's the best you fucking got. Jesus fuck, dude, you're done. But
or is this just another distraction?
It feels like he's doing recce by fire, man. Send him to the gallows, and if the world response sends his ass back to the bargaining table with the West, he can go, well, big fucking deal. They all died heroes. That's what he'll tell Mother Russia. But at the end of the day, he's like, fuck it. I kept my A players back at home, because where are those guys? They're all on the border of fucking North Korea and China, man.
100%.
So I don't know. I honestly don't know. It's the way my fucking brain works. Looking at that, going, that is not what I was brought up. Because I joined the army in 1988, and the enemy was actually the fucking Russians back then. This is pre-détente, pre the wall came down. Even when it came down, we're like, maybe it's not all the way down. So I was trained to literally fight the Russians. My forward observer course was the most, I guess, the biggest tactical course, if you will, that I took back in the day. And it was all about motor rifle regiments and how they worked and all this shit and how to engage those and what to expect. So that's how I grew up. And this whole bullshit fucking insurgencies out in the desert with Iraq, Afghanistan came after the fact. But I'm fucking hardcore born and bred to fight Russians. So what I'm seeing is way different than what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or is this just a test? This is him just testing. He threw some B
my
squad
paranoia,
people.
Bryce. Like I'm like, no, he's got to have more, or maybe this is it. Maybe they just suck.
Is this just? Or he's got the equipment. He doesn't have the people to put in the equipment, and he was fed lies for the last little bit from the generals who actually sold stuff out from underneath them.
Who knows?
Be it too. Very corrupt country,
Right.
and they're all scared of him. They're like looking at him, going, "Well, this my guy's a fucking billionaire. I'm going to start selling off our shit, man. Go watch Lord of War with
or
Nicolas
is he
Cage.
exactly? Is Putin being fed stuff from the battlefield that is so incorrect that he's got an inflated self where he's looking at himself like a Napoleon?
That could be
whereas
too.
His military has actually liquidated
You know
and
what?
sold
You
all
could
of
be
his
right.
assets.
And I'm sorry, I'm not getting to the comments, guys. I'm apologize. You could be right. They could be so afraid of what he will do that they're feeding him bullshit. He did,
Just
we don't
tell
know
him what he wants, because if not,
we
they'll
don't
kill him.
know what information he's getting.
Absolutely, yeah.
So he might think he's fucking winning, man.
He's already taken it. Absolutely, he's already been fed. He's already drinking champagne. He's back in his TikTok account. He's making funny things on his go. He's ready to go.
I wouldn't jump that far, Ed. I can't really read that, but it's such a long thing. We're going to put it up and see what she has to say.
65% black market and untaxed.
The Russian. Oh, listen to this. This is some interesting conversation right here. The Russian economy is about 65% black market or untaxed. He can't be sitting on very much unless the 35% is epic. The people are more powerful than the government. I'm waiting to see them respond. Oh, Lisa, I love that comment.
Absolutely.
Me too.
There
what are
is
you
a
guys
lot.
going to do now? Because your economy's in the shitter.
You know what? Those Russian truckers are going to drive to Moscow.
No, it's okay.
Right?
We've already got truckers on the go, and they are going to Ottawa.
You're going to roll into fucking Moscow, man, and set up hot tubs and bouncy castles.
Yeah, man.
That's the shit I'm waiting for. That's what
exactly
I
what they're going to do.
Right?
Yeah.
They're
bringing the
like she said, the people are more powerful than the government. I agree.
But the people have the fucking fortitude to actually do it. Because I honestly
Canadians responded too. Some people didn't like it, but Canadians responded too.
Yeah, there's some response.
I'm really curious to see what happens, and that drives some conversation. I honestly believe, my personal belief is, the fastest resolution of this issue that's best for both sides, averting World War III nuclear warfare and minimizing what's going on in the Ukraine and saving face in Russia. Those three key elements is the removal of fucking Vladimir Putin, call sign chief herd.
I think what we should do,
fucking guy goes, the faster this ends, because if he remains unchallenged and if he remains egotistical and make a megalomaniac and unchallenged because of fear, he will keep pushing because he's like, I can't back down now. I went all in. I'll lose face. Fuck you, bud. He's got to go.
The world would pay $250 a person to tune in, and we have the Ukrainian president and Mr. Putin put himself into a cage, and the two of them could sort this shit out.
I'm gonna say this in front of all 8 listeners out there and whoever watches this shit tomorrow. I'm gonna match that fucking oligarch millionaire dude, billionaire. I will contribute my empties once a month for the next year to the first guy that takes out Putin. There you go. I put it down.
You know what? I know exactly how much money that is. You've actually helped.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, you took you.
So there you go. You heard it here first.
Warriors.
He is going to send his fucking death squads to Edmonton right on. I will give my empties for 1 year per month for the first guy to match that buddy's $1 million because it feels insufficient to me. And anybody watching who's willing to contribute to the cause, get at me, DM me.
Yeah, hit him at Twitter.
They're going to do. He's going to do direct strikes on all the bottle depots, so your
100%.
empties will be worthless.
That would be
100%.
amazing.
All right, fuck. We're going off into the hinterland. So I know we're gonna have an episode on conspiracies and shit coming up. I want to thank everybody for listening. I want to thank my olive drab hooligans, Mr. Bryce Hooper, Mr. Morgan Warren, for jumping in and providing completely fucking non-relevant information of what I was trying to talk about, yet somehow carrying the narrative.
Yeah.
So next week's up in the air. I'm going to be in Kitimat. We could be on late, could be on not at all. Don't know yet. I'll let everybody know how it goes, or I'm going to let you guys run the show, and I'll just fucking hide under a pile of coats and hope the fuck it all works out. We'll talk about that later. Yeah. So,
Do it.
For all you listeners out there, thank you very much. And we'll try to get to your questions. We're going to do another Q&A thing coming up soon. In the interim, let's say a big shout out to my sponsors. I'm going to put these guys in the green room for a second. Fire for Effect Live and Fire for Effect is brought to you by the Dean Blundell Network of Podcasts. Go to deanblundell.com, Canada's largest digital source for news, sports, and podcasts. You can find my podcast and my many other wicked ones on there. As well as brought to you by my good friend, Positive Mike's Brewing Company, my main man, Mr. Bryce Hooper, the king of conspiracies, but he's also good at cannabis culture as a medicinal alternative to conventional medicine. And my main man, Jeff None, who I need to go see very soon because I need to top up on some fine cheese and some Wagyu X beef. Thank you all for watching today. I hope you had a lot of fun. I hope to see you next week. And we are out.